Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the Wrestling Bytes podcast? Your host, on the site, and Chris Young. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Bytes podcast. I am your host, Pun the Psych, and with me, as always, the best damn referee in the business, Chris Young. Chris, how are you doing tonight, man?
I am doing fantastic for a Tuesday.
I'm pumped up again, if you can't tell. Very pumped up.
Yeah, I heard you just finished up an interview with somebody.
Yeah, that meow mix fucking works, dude. I want chicken. I want. Oh no. Oh wait, that was the wrong thing. Yes, I did have a great interview with Adam Wick. And we're gonna hear that later on tonight on the podcast. He is a phenomenal talent. Let me tell you. And the poise of the interview tells me that kid's going places. You will see him in the top bookings. Well, wait, that's right. We're gonna announce later in a future event where he is the top booking. Right after he does our podcast, right after you come on the Reality Bytes or the Wrestling Bytes podcast, guys, you get booked in title matches.
Possibly, we had something to do with that.
Stroke me. Oh wait, I just had to blow the ego up. But yes, it was an interesting week for wrestling this week. We're going to get into some news topics, that interview, but first, everybody's favorite time. Every week we do this show. It's time for reviews. Not calls from the public. It's time for reviews. I wish we had some calls from the public, though.
Yeah, that would be nice. We'd just feed you right in live.
I want to get Chester on the show. If you don't get it, but I'd be scared that he would invite me over and then I'd eat all of his cereal.
The elephant, he's too big. He couldn't fit through the door.
Yeah, but then you hear the interview before where Chester says how he makes love to all his women as he feeds them cereal. And then the elephant eats cereal.
Oh, man. Syphil and Ollie, 20 years ahead of its time.
Yeah, if you guys have never seen Syphil and Ollie, go check it out. Shameless plug for Syphil and Ollie. You guys can sponsor. Oh, wait, they're not an active company. Never mind. Anyways, let's get this review kicked off, guys. We're going to start with NWA Power this week.
It's Team War. Team War.
I don't need another team war. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely Team War. Jesus.
It was something, that's for sure. I think the best part of NWA Power was the fact that Medusa was actually on color commentary.
I was gonna say something about Medusa being on there, but then she gave me shades of Austin Idol, which made me cringe. I thought she did better, but look, I'm going to extend this. Billy Corgan, if you need a professional commentator, I am available. You can book me anytime. You don't need 17 people to do commentary. Give me, myself, and the one professional commentator you have on your team, and I would be able to put enough wisecracks in there on top of being professional to make it work. There's too many people trying to be Jerry Lawler and not enough Jim Ross.
Yeah, they were pretty good. They didn't really talk over each other too much this episode. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with Kyle Davis. He was not over the top. He was good.
Well, see, here's the thing. Austin Idol's so old that if he was to smack one of those guys, they'd feel like they got tapped by a little stick. If Medusa was to get her hand, I feel like she kind of got more respect than Austin Idol does. I don't know if it's because he's older or what it is, but it definitely did flow better. But I still think that their commentary needs some major help.
Yeah,
I like Velvet Sky.
Yeah, she's all right.
She can commentate with me anytime she'd like.
I get annoyed with her because sometimes she will use quote unquote inside terms when talking. But other than that, if she could knock that off and just provide color, that'd be
Well,
perfect.
if she actually had a commentator like a Mike Tenay or somebody that had expertise in the business, they would explain what those words were as she said them. And that's what I think's lacking. They're lacking that technical person to pull it all together. I think once they get that, they'll be fine.
Yeah, Mike Tenay would actually fit in really well there. I didn't
He
even
would.
think of that.
He would. And that's why I keep dropping that Mike Tenay. Mike Tenay, come back. We miss you, man.
Very much so.
Seriously. Like I really enjoyed that other guy that what was his name? Ronaldo. The guy that was doing the commentary for WWE and then he started doing like boxing. It's like I don't remember
Oh
his first name, but
yeah.
it's Ronaldo. His last name's
Yeah.
Ronaldo. He
Yep.
was he was a very good commentator and he got excited and stuff like that, but he kept it under control. But I mean, the focus isn't on that. It's on Team Wars.
Team War. Yeah. So, do you
So,
want to explain the rules of Team War, or do you want me to?
well, I mean, were they ever explained?
That was it. It almost became so complicated that you got confused, but it's
So,
really not that
so
complicated.
when the first guy got eliminated from the first match, didn't you think the match was over?
Well, I didn't know if the match was over or like what was going to happen
And then
next.
my next question is did you know it was a battle royal elimination style rules until Legursky got thrown off of the top rope and eliminated? Because I
Well,
didn't.
I did, but again, being eliminated, I didn't quite understand what
Eh,
that meant. Like, did it mean like you now were on the outside of the ring and you could get tagged in? It was
Yeah,
the first match was just kind of a mess and trying to
you know,
understand.
I know you're not a huge video game fan. I know you've played them. I know you know what a video game is, so we don't have to ask if you know who Keith Lee is like a video game. So, but um, you know how a video game works. Like a lot of games have that tutorial at the beginning that's really boring and kind of explains how things work by just showing you instead of telling you.
Yeah, A
I
button
feel like
jumps, B
that's what
button
this
makes you
match
run
was.
faster.
Yeah, that's what they were doing with this match. They didn't tell us the rules. They just kind of showed us throughout the match because again, I didn't know that there was a no DQ rule until the end of the match.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And overall, the first Team War match, which I've got all the competitors here, I'm not even going to go over it all, but they didn't tell a very good story. They just kind of had a match, and when you have so many people involved, it's simple things that lead to pins, like roll ups and just leg drops. It was a mess.
I wrote that there was miscommunication between the referee in this match. Um, when Homicide hit the cutter and then Rudo managed to get the pin on Homicide after that sunset flip. But I don't think the ref had any freaking clue of what was going on. He dropped to the mat and was like, bam, bam, bam. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And like, it looked odd. It didn't look right. And then this whole match after that, in my opinion, was like horrible because they literally went to just hitting power move after power move after power move after power move after power move.
Yeah.
Tell a story, please. Something,
Yeah.
anything.
Yep. And then when we'll get there, but comparing it to the second Team Team War match, which was the main event. The main event Team War match, they told a great story there. So comparing the two, it was night and day.
Right. You're talking about who was in that match? Judas, Kratos, Aaron Stevens.
Yeah.
That was a good match. We'll talk about that here shortly. But yes, I agree. Like in comparison, these were like night and day matches.
Yep. So, all right, we're done with the first match. Let's move on.
Even though, and I was really sad because I usually like the work from Taven in the OG. Like I really generally enjoy their work. So, the next match was straight to the women's championship, wasn't it? Or did I miss something in my notes?
Well, you didn't miss anything. I mean, the Pope returned.
Pope,
He was louder than ever.
Hey, I got a story for you real quick. Ready for story time with On the Side? So when I wrestled for TNA, one guy that I wanted to talk to was Pope because I really liked his previous gimmick in WWE. And then he came here. You do know Pope is Elijah Burke, right?
Yeah, I do know
Yeah.
that. Thank
I
you.
really liked his work as Elijah Burke, and it took me a second to remember the name, but I really liked his work as Burke, and I just wanted to say to him, I thought you were very innovative when you worked for the WWE with some of the spots you put in your matches, and I like every time I'd go to talk to him, he'd be called out to do something, and I finally ran into him at the urinal, and so he walks up to me, and I'm already at the urinal, and I'm like, I look over and I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Oh, the Pope's having another day." Like third person the entire time he talked to me, he would respond with the Pope. And I was like, I told him what I wanted to say, and he was like, "The Pope thanks you, brother." And he shook and walked away. We didn't shake hands. He shook, like rattled it off because you don't want no drippage. And then he took off. And that was like the only conversation I ever had with the guy. And like he was the one dude I wanted to talk to more than anybody. And the only time I got to talk to him was memories from the urinal.
Nice. At least it
Yeah.
was the urinal, and he's not
Yeah.
like, the Pope's got to take a poop.
Yeah. That's better than when I met Scott Steiner.
Oh, we got lots of Scott Steiner stories for another time.
Yeah. Well, we could do a whole podcast on Scott Steiner stories, I feel like.
Yeah, lots of interactions with Scotty. Nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a really nice guy.
But yeah, women's match.
Camille
Kiera
against
Hogan.
your favorite Kiera Hogan.
Yeah, I really want to like Kiera Hogan. I do, but this match was just off.
What did I?
Wasn't bad. It was off.
What did I say last week? Her matches are either on or very off.
Yeah, this was an off day. I don't know what the problem was, but ugh. And it made matters worse with the finish because the referee counted 3, and it's almost like Kiera was supposed to kick out, but she didn't. Camilla was expecting her to, and so she threw herself off, but Kiera didn't kick out.
Yeah.
And everybody was confused.
Here's my question.
Off.
This is a pre-taped show, correct?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you redo the ending?
I don't know. The same reason why you didn't redo it for the championship match last week.
So again, Billy Corgan, if I need to go panhandle a sign outside of the arena in Atlanta to get you enough money to pay your editors for 15 more minutes worth of work and 15 more minutes worth of shot, then so be it. But you're recording. You have a live audience. They're going to understand if you redo the end of the match.
Yeah.
All you have to do at that point is be like, no, the match continues, edit that all out, and get the pinfall.
Right.
Redo the spots. The fans will be oblivious to it. They're still going to be behind it, and it would have been a better match. The funny spot in this match I wrote down was when Camille, at the beginning of the match, very beginning of the match, when Camille threw Hogan across the ring and backed her up and patted her on the head. Kiera Hogan yelled, "I got her!" And she grabbed her in a waist lock, and Camille just shrugged her off and threw her around like a rag doll.
Yeah. Like, that's the Kiera Hogan I would love to see more of, because the way she sold that and made it look huge, perfect.
But I laughed, and I'm like, I kind of felt bad for laughing at that point, because you really should be laughing at the baby face getting worked over like that. But I just found it funny because of the way she was like, "I got her," and then just got beat the fuck down.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Billy Corgan, if you're listening and you need a referee, feel free to reach out. I would love to be part of the NWA as a referee.
I know. Do we have to go get signs that say "We'll job for a gig"? Like,
we'll be just like Lenny Lane during Thunder that we went to in Lansing with a giant sign that says "Use me."
Did they use him that? No, they didn't.
Well, yeah, Ernest the Cat Miller pulled him out because he was the commissioner, and he's like, "I can't have you running around disrupting my show with a big sign that says "Use me." You want to be used? You get yourself a tag team partner or whatever it was. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was. That was. I remember that Thunder taping. That was a good night.
Yeah, it was a good time. Saw X-rated Jason Cronin that night.
Yeah, we did. That's the last time I think I ever seen him.
And that's when we got into a huge fight about where we were going to eat afterwards. We decided we were going to go to Arby's, and we pulled off the highway, and the Arby's wasn't even open because it was under construction.
Yeah, they were still building the Arby's. But they had an advertisement for it already, like it was up and operational. I remember that. That was great.
Yeah.
It was good times, man.
Oh, man. Yep. All right. So, unfortunately, that match was not on. and it was a bit of a disappointment. We did glaze over something real quick. Matt Cardona cut an awesome promo to start the show.
He did.
That he's good on that. And
I really feel like they're pushing towards Cardona taking the NWA title from Trevor Murdoch. And nothing against Trevor Murdoch, but I mean, he spent so many years as a mid-carder at best that it's really hard to get behind him in a title run. I don't know if it's what it is with me. It's not, I just can't get behind it. I've tried. I like Trevor Murdoch. He's a good talent, but I just don't see him as the face of a company. And if that's the face of your company, that's a face a mother wouldn't love. Oh my God. Saying if you're going to pick a face, find a prettier one.
Wow.
But yes, back to War Team War.
Yeah, it was the main event. And yes, this one told a good story.
Matt did beat him on Friday, though. So, yeah, I mean, it did set up for that. So,
yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, I don't think it's aired yet, but
I don't care.
It was all over. I have a hard time following which program I'm supposed to be watching for NWA, so I just watch Power. And if it's on there, great.
Hey, I think we just learned a lesson. Next time you send me a spoiler, put spoiler alert in front of it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Back to Team Wars.
Team War, team. Yeah. Okay. So they told a really good story here. You kind of wanted to believe that. I can forget his name. Was going to make it the entire time, but he didn't. And then the entire one team. This is how interested I was in this. I don't even remember names. I took notes, but I can't read my own handwriting because I have chicken scratch. I should upload it one day so you can see it.
This was a perfectly fine for a main event. Now that the rules were established, like Kratos getting eliminated the way he did was kind of disheartening. They really should push that kid. Odinson looked great. Stevens was eliminated after mistaking Tyrus for Kratos.
Yeah,
I don't know how he did that, but he got hit with the heart punch. Then Stevens had to leave the arena, and I questioned. This is what I wrote down. I said, "But why? It's no DQ. Why does Stevens have to leave if there's no disqualification? You shouldn't be able to eject somebody from the side of the ring if there's no disqualification. Because you eject somebody."
It was weird because. If it's no disqualification, why are you counting when they're on the ropes? I don't know.
Then I like the spot where they got in the fight over who was gonna just destroy Plunkett. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I mean, the first 5 minutes of this was a good mix of wrestling and entertainment because it was two big guys that were just dominating, and then they both end up getting eliminated, and it told a good story.
And again, Billy Corgan, you really need to listen to this podcast, bro. If you have a guy in your match that is getting no heat, you probably should have eliminated him first. Judas gets no heat at all. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the crowd did not boo him or even really make much of a remark on any time he was in the ring. It also proves my point of why would you in the first place get rid of the guy that was running hot at the beginning of the match? Kratos getting eliminated before Judas made no sense to me. You have a guy that's getting mad heat and a guy that's getting no heat, and you're going to finish out the match with the guy that's getting no heat.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. At that point, it got confusing. I know that Clearwater eliminated Plunkett with a Midas touch big boot. Clearwater was left against Odinson, Pero, and Mac.
Yep.
Which was that classic heel disadvantage. And,
and just for a second, you thought he was going to be able to run the gamut, and then he just gave up.
Well, I wrote that this was a good match, but it reeks of Vince Russo booking.
Well, nobody was on a pole, so that's a bonus.
Well, I think he's over that now, but I mean, there was spots in this match that just were
Yeah.
classic Russo style booking.
Yeah. Yeah. But this one was definitely better than the first Team War team match. And, I think they're learning as they go. They can tell good stories. So,
I
yeah.
think the 3-on-1 killed the heat a bit, but maybe it's just me. Um,
I don't think he killed the heat of it. I think, again, there was just enough of a seed planted where you believed he might be able to do this, but he didn't. And that was NWA Power.
yeah, to wrap it up, I'd say the show was better than what it has been in the last few weeks. There was even some really great points to this show. That had two good promos in it. Um, it also shows in this episode, at least in my behalf, onto why NWA, in my opinion, well, like I've said every week we've reviewed it, is very muddy. This is what I mean. The production is put together like an indie show. And I understand they're trying to keep that indie-esque feel, but that does not mean that you need to book your matches fly by night this way. Um, we talked about this last week with calling matches on the fly. There was some examples in this where that was probably done well, and there's some examples in here where that was done very badly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I would definitely still say it was a better show though than last week or the week before, and they need to continue on that because I don't know how many weeks in a row of NWA Power I could watch. Like a couple weeks ago, there that was bad.
Well, it sounds like they might be improving slightly, but
They
yeah,
are.
they've got a long ways to go, and I'm not sure how they're going to get there.
I try not to be too overcritical on NWA because I know they haven't been back reestablished for more than like a year or two. And I think they're slowly starting to get there. And I know they're trying to do the studio production thing. But again, with studio comes editing and making your matches look as good as they possibly can for your audience. That does require editing when you do pre-tape shows. So
Yeah.
um, I think that they can put out a more professional product if they just get a few more people in there to help them get to where they want to be, opposed to just trying to force it. But yeah, that's my final thought on NWA. So,
All right. So now we move on to Monday Night Raw, correct?
yeah, do we have to?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to. This is from the Monday Night Raw from February 14th,
Yeah, and
Valentine's Day.
it's the go home show for the Elimination Chamber. So I already knew when the show started that it was going to be a bunch of crap. Um, yeah, immediately off the bat. As soon as I said, "Oh, this is the go home show," I got sad. Did you notice that when the opening comes out now, the guy's like, "Forever, now, forever, together."
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. They added that together at the end,
Here,
and
now,
it's
together, forever, forever, together.
they're taking keywords from late 90s boy bands and making it a slogan. We're together forever,
Yeah.
now and forever.
I'd rather have him just start out the show with like the "I believe." I believe. Yeah, that'd be
Love
better.
will find a way.
I still cannot listen to that song in public without dying.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good song. Blessed,
Yeah,
Blessed Unions of Soul.
yeah.
Good
As long
song.
as you're not trying to eat Whoppers at Burger King.
Yeah, we were eating Whoppers and Burger King, and that song came on, and for some reason they had turned the volume up to 11. It wasn't even 10. It was all the way up to 11. It was, and we were the only two in the restaurant. It was crazy.
That's so
I
we
mean,
yeah, so it was fun.
it's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't need to be played at 11.
You don't need to ghetto blast it like it's California, like it's that Tupac song.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know. So after the voiceover, and it made me go, huh, I heard the theme music of the man who I guarantee was probably going to speak. And that's Bobby who? I mean, Bobby who? Bobby
Yeah.
Lashley.
Yeah.
Bobby
Yep.
Lashley. He had MVP with him. And he talks about having to go through the Elimination Chamber to get to WrestleMania as the WWE champion. The Chamber's shortened careers and impacted lives, but so is he.
Yep. And then Seth came out. Seth
Yeah.
did his Seth Rollins thing. And ultimately what ends up happening is every single person who's in the Elimination Chamber match for the men comes out.
Riddle invited him to the toga party.
Yeah. And I was dreading this because as soon as Seth came out, you knew that was what was going to happen. And I'm like, oh, we're looking at 25 minutes of this. And then I was surprised because it only lasted 15 minutes. They actually cut it shorter or gave it a shorter amount of time, which was perfect.
So Lashley says he's the only one who's won an Elimination Chamber match. And that runs down everybody else's chances. But I could have swore that a few years back in one of Seth Rollins' title runs that he won an Elimination Chamber match with the help of the Shield. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was Roman Reigns. I'll have to look back and check, but I'm almost positive he has. So
I don't know. I wasn't watching WWE at the time, so that's a good question.
Yeah, I'd have to double check it, and I will. But yeah, so he goes on that and he runs his mouth. Lesnar and Lashley go face to face. And there's a bunch of debacle that goes on. He's wearing a hat. Austin Theory's wearing a hat. Or is that what I put on, or was that Brock? Oh, the hat on Brock works for him.
Yeah. Brock came out with his cowboy hat and put it on Austin's head.
Yeah, I think it worked for him though. It was great. I think that Austin Theory's gimmick is working, and I think he will eventually get the push. I can't see him going into these main event bookings this way. The promo was okay. It was an average deal in my opinion. It was build up for the pay-per-view, so I gave it a B- because they did do their job. They built up for the pay-per-view and built some hype for that Elimination Chamber match, but it was very clustered. It was very clustered in my opinion. Too many people, too much going on.
No, this was a very good opening segment. You know, you got 6 people out there, it lasts 15 minutes. Everybody gets about 2 minutes. It's just enough time to get your stuff in, and then Brock to clean house. It was perfect. I loved it. I gave it an A.
Okay. Yeah, I just felt like there was too much, and like all this RK Bro toga party, like it's just build to the pay-per-view and let's go on. Let's continue, gentlemen. You know?
Yeah.
Now we've seen a clip of Dolph Ziggler coming to NXT. He's going to fight Tommaso Ciampa. As a result, Tommaso Ciampa was there on commentary. If you don't know Tommaso Ciampa, he's been on NXT, and before that, he had a huge push in Ring of Honor a few years back. I believe he won the Ring of Honor World Title, and he's a good wrestler. He's a good wrestler. Always been a fan of his work, and so he comes out for commentary. And this was a quick match.
Yeah, Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the Dirty Dogs. Yeah, I didn't care for the match, so I gave it a D+.
Yeah, I did. I wrote at this, why are you pushing Ziggler at the beginning of the match and then making him job in 2 minutes and 45 seconds to a frog splash? But then he super kicks Ciampa, but bails from the Street Profits. So I really felt like all they did was what they always do to Dolph Ziggler, and that's bury him. Actually, they hand him the shovel, and he kind of buries himself.
Well, you know, Tommaso was sitting ringside, and when Ziggler comes out of the ring, Tommaso throws that dreaded water in his face, that cup of water, and Ziggler was down for the count. All that water just oozing all over his face.
That was steel water.
It was like the Joker from the first Batman movie. Just the skin was peeling off of his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, everybody knew. Yeah, I guess he's the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, I mean, everybody knew when they showed Dolph at NXT and Tommaso was at ringside that this was going to be a short match and something was going to happen. That's all they were trying to do.
So then we go to a segment of RK Bro and the Quiz Bowl. Then we go to the RK Broga party where Riddle wants to know where Randy is. And for some reason, Queen Zelina thinks that this is all for her. But Riddle starts the Broga chant. Randy runs in another locker room and seems to find this dumb. He also wants to be ready for his match against Seth Rollins, so he's obviously has more important things to deal with than the Broga party.
They were setting us up to think that Randy Orton was eventually going to don a toga, and spoiler alert, it never happened.
I honestly feel like they're setting Randy Orton up for a title run.
Yeah, probably. He always has a title run possibility. But yeah, that toga party was pretty lame when it comes to toga parties, so I would have skipped it too.
Yeah. Then we had Kevin, the Rocky Johnson Black History Month video, which I thought was put together very well, and I just wanted to say that. Then we looked at Kevin Owens, who was being a sad panda, and he was being a sad panda because he was not allowed to be in the cool kids table for the Elimination Chamber, and it hurt him even more because he can't be WWE champion in Texas. Now, according to the fan poll, Owens is let's do this like Maury. All right, Kevin Owens states that he loves Texas more than anywhere, and we've determined that that was a lie.
Oh!
You are not the father, Stone Cold is.
Oh, my baby.
We're going to talk about Stone Cold in the news in a little bit, too. And I want to, it's kind of more me ranting about something, but it is news, but it's news every year.
Yeah. And then Kevin Owens comes on and just confirms that he hates Texas.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on.
This is all heat. And I'll explain why in the news.
Well, I mean, it's what we talked about last week. You find that one thing about whatever it is, the city or the place you're going to be, and you trash it. And
it's deeper, and
he's foreshadowing.
It's deeper, and he's lobbying for a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, I know.
That will never happen, but we'll talk about that in the news. Right. We have a U.S. title match with AJ Styles versus Damian Priest. I was looking forward to this match. I even said it last week.
Yeah.
For looking forward to a match so hard, no.
Yeah. It was not very good. It was short. It was sloppy.
Yeah.
It was like my first time having,
This is the three S's to create a horrible wrestling match. It was short, it was sloppy, and it was stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid booking.
After their match last week, AJ Styles and Damian Priest, I thought there was going to be something exciting here. And then it just seemed like Damian couldn't get out of his own way. He was tripping over his feet. He was winded really fast. It wasn't good.
I wrote in my notes, why are we seeing roll up after roll up tonight?
Yeah.
These guys are doing the same finish in every match. Yep. We just talked about the indie companies working on not wanting to do that. And now we see WWE prominently doing it. And people wonder where people get these ideas.
Yep. I get a disappointment.
I get that Priest needed to win this match to put him back over. And I get that he needed to win it clean. But he should not have won this match clean within 4.5 minutes after having a match that went how long last week? 15 to 17 minutes?
Yeah, it was a long one.
Well, that was not title though. So
yeah. I guess when the title's up for grabs, he tries a lot harder. I don't know. But then after the match they shook hands.
Yeah. Which struck me odd, but you know,
I don't
where's
know.
Where's the kayfabe and a face heel combination there?
I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to save.
Forever.
I don't know what they're trying to save.
But, face. That's about it.
Yeah, but it's if the baby face loses, everybody's still going to like him. If the heel loses, everybody's still going to hate him.
Yeah,
so shaking hands doesn't do anything.
Then we had this Alexa Bliss segment. I'm just not. I said last week, I'm not behind this anymore. And she looked a little bit more normal. Her hair was down. She was in more regular clothing. The therapist says, aside from the incident in the grocery store last week, was good. It was so good that she's earned a gift. What would she like it to be? She would like the music to stop, but he has something else in mind. Lily's unstuffed body and the stuffing to go with it. She gets a bit shaky, but the therapist pulls out a backup and a still constructed Lily doll. I really don't get it.
Please don't stop the music. Please don't stop the music. Yeah, that's all I could think of when she said she wants the music to stop. Yeah, it's one of those typical segments, and I just kept thinking, how long is this going to go? And fortunately, later on, it ended. So, yeah.
I wrote in my notes that the WWE is trying to change Alexa Bliss into Veer Mahan to save faith because nobody knows where Veer Mahan is anymore. Has anybody seen this man? Do 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 do. He's still gone. Nobody's seen this man.
It's a mystery.
It's an unsolved mystery.
Maybe you might be able to help solve a mystery.
If you've seen Veer Mahan, contact us at 1-800 Where's
876-5353. Yeah, or unsolved.com. All right, moving on. Alexa Bliss, yes. Nobody likes it.
Yeah. Then we had almost a wrestler. We have Nikki ASH, or as I called Nikki TRASH, who's almost a superhero. Then we have Almost, who's almost a wrestler. And he's taking on Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. A minute and 34 of total dominance. And that was about it. There was a choke slam and a pin.
Yep. Yeah. He's an attraction. I don't think he'll ever be anything more than an attraction. D+, that's generous.
Back to the 24/7 debacle. That was just another Days of Our Lives as the world turns bullshit moment of the night. I think it's pathetic. I think that it's the worst gimmicky thing I've ever seen, and I don't think anybody really gives a rat's ass if Dana Brooke dates Reggie. Do you care?
Well, they ended it right then and there. Yep. Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. The crowd did not react whatsoever, and you can always hear the audience in the background. They nothing. Crickets.
Yeah.
Now it's back to the arcade Broga party. The Street Profits showed up. Kevin Patrick was getting a pep talk. Angelo Dawkins dominates at beer pong. And
he
that was
threw
about the
one ball. He didn't dominate. He threw one ball.
That's dominating in WWE. One ball is domination in WWE. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we saw Adam Pearce in the ring for a contract signing between Becky Lynch and Lita.
Yes.
Becky looked depressed when she came out, and she was wearing one of the most gaudy outfits I've ever seen in my entire life.
That was the idea. She nailed it. It was perfect. I love Becky Lynch. She is just absolutely perfect in this role.
She must be, because I can't stand her. But then again, I never have been able to.
No, yeah. I mean, you were watching it and you're like, oh man, she really is kind of like wrapped up in this, and she's really going to go ballistic at Elimination Chamber on Lita.
Lita asked the fans if she should tear the contract up or sign it, which I was kind of like, well, that's an obvious one.
Why didn't they do a poll on that?
I don't know. And then it shut Becky up. And she reminded Becky that she's not back for just one more match. She's back for one more run. That's one more championship run, which is going to last from Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, if she wins at Elimination Chamber, what is she going to do at WrestleMania? Rematch?
Transition it back to Becky Lynch. Yeah.
Okay.
No, she's gonna drop it to Doudrop. I don't. That was a joke.
Yeah. So, I thought the segment was pretty good. I'm glad they didn't break a table. So
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
not yet. We're waiting for Elimination Chamber on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Elimination Chamber, they promoted that next, and that went to the Gauntlet match. Um, and the winner gets sent out of the Elimination Chamber last, with Rhea Ripley in at number 1, Nikki Ashton at number 2. We're joined in progress with Nikki trying her in the ring, skirt to hammer her away again before going with the armbar. Ripley fought up and gets taken right back down into another move. Like that whole double move thing I wrote just did not look good. It didn't do anything. Then they finally broke that whole little like twister scramble up, and we had some clotheslines and they countered the riptide, but like it was a quick little match for being a gauntlet. The gauntlet matches usually don't run over about 5 minutes each until the last one. I think that this one was okay. Obviously, it was pretty obvious that Nikki was going to lose this. Then out came Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
And before she runs in the ring, of course, it's promo time. We hear her talk about how she's been in the chamber.
Yeah,
she'll survive again.
WWE superstars. We got the corner box where they're cutting a promo. It was perfect. Loved it.
And then she got super kicked after a way longer match than the first match, and got rid of Liv Morgan. It was about 10 minutes.
And it was obvious that Liv was calling the spots because she was very loud. You could hear her just talking plain as day, like she was cutting a promo, yelling spots. Disappointing.
Then Doudrop came out, and I really thought that we were going to see a WrestleMania 3-esque moment where Hogan body slammed Andre, with Doudrop getting a body slam from Ripley, but they never did it.
That's terrible.
They should have. They should have done it.
Maybe they're holding it for WrestleMania. Maybe that'll be what Rhea Ripley does.
Then you find the smallest woman on the WWE roster and have her body slam Doudrop at WrestleMania.
Oh,
get like a female midget wrestler or something.
No. Oh, stop. Oh,
rocking Hummingbird.
Yeah. When Doudrop wrestled Rhea Ripley, it was awkward. They did this weird standing talking spot. Like they were kind of like, it's almost like somebody decided that they were going to go off script and it wasn't working. And so they were trying to reset. It was slow. I didn't care for it.
The funniest moment of this entire match was when Rhea Ripley went for the riptide and Doudrop blocked it, and the only comeback she had was a headbutt. And she did not connect with that headbutt whatsoever.
Yeah.
It looked like she did a Jedi Force head thrust move and the momentum pushed.
Yeah. Yep. It was not good.
And then out came Bianca Belair, whipping her hair around. I wish somebody would run her over with a car as she was coming out to the ring, but I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not a Bianca Belair fan.
I did it for you, brother.
Yeah. So, this match was better than the rest of them, in my opinion.
Yes.
Bianca Belair, despite my opinion of her, does know how to work. And definitely kept up a lot better with Rhea Ripley than anybody else did. Unfortunately, Rhea Ripley was already winded from having to face several people beforehand.
Yes.
But I still thought she did a good job keeping up with a faster paced Belair than the other opponents she had. I did like the handspring moonsault. Only hit the knees, but I still like the move.
It was cool. It was cool.
That missile drop kick that Ripley pulled off was solid. It was very nice looking.
Yes.
Drop kicks are very lazily, haphazardly thrown nowadays. So to see a tight one was nice. That did not sound right talking about a women's match. The prism trap goes on again. Belair rolls out, hit the spine buster. The KOD finishes Ripley at 40-34. So this was a 40-minute match, all said and done.
45 minutes, yeah. Yeah, that's how much time they were given, and they used
I had it timed at 40 minutes and 34 seconds, so I don't know if Maybe I cut the promo from Live off there.
Yeah, it depends on when you started it. I mean, the match started and they were in picture. So, I mean, really, that Nikki Ash was just stalling that 2.5 minutes. But that's what they kept plugging. 44 minutes. Rio was in there for 44 minutes.
Yeah.
And just for a second, I believed that she was going to win, and it was a great story. And I think that's what made the match between her, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair that much better, because at that point in time, the story was established and the wrestling was good. And that saved the entire gauntlet match. I would say go back and watch this gauntlet match just for that drama at the end.
Yeah, I gave this a solid B. I put that this match got a lot of time, but that was a good thing in this circumstance because how many matches did we see in 40 minutes? Several stories told. Ripley looked like a star again for once. But I don't really see her winning the Elimination Chamber. I feel like she's going to be the one who puts the person over in the chamber by this performance tonight. It was good to see her getting some significant ring time again. And even Belair winning was a perfectly fine way to go. I was a little shocked that we didn't see the sixth entrant return here, but that is what it is. We still have to guess on who's going to be coming out numbers, who's the sixth person in the Elimination Chamber. So
yeah, when they ran the promo just before the gauntlet started, they mentioned the sixth person is a mystery, and it made you think that when Belair won, there was going to be another person coming out, but there wasn't, and it was just kind of odd.
Yeah, and again, then they cut back to the Broga party where Riddle got jumped by Alpha Academy, and that was pretty much the whole segment. And then it cut to the restaurant where R-Truth and company are chasing Dana Brooke. That's about all I want to say on it.
Yeah, it's a comedy spot.
She turned him down again.
Lacking the comedy.
She turned him down again.
Yep, and then he rolled her up 1, 2, 3. Now he's the champ.
Yep, which was what I figured was going to happen from the beginning. Then we had a non-title tag team match. Non-title. I'm going to say it one more time. We had a non-title tag team match. So that means that by WWE standards, this has got a 95% chance for the Mysterios to win this match, right?
Yeah, 95%.
Wrong. The winners of this match were Alpha Academy. This is the thing that got me is so the thing about Dominic is last week, in order to beat Miz, he had to cheat to win.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they let him do that again and make it an angle? Tie it into the whole, are you sure Eddie's not your dad? I lie, I cheat, I steal. The whole Eddie gimmick. You could have rolled with that. It got so much pop. Why wouldn't you roll with something like that?
Well, I mean, Miz was hitting that. He was saying that, he cheated, but that was on commentary.
Yeah, he was. Him and Maurice to come out for commentary for this match. I felt like in the middle of this match, Otis and Gable were teaming up on Ray, and Ray got back up without hardly any trouble. It wasn't even a struggle for him to get to Dominic.
Yeah.
And I wrote that made Alpha Academy look very weak. And then Dominic did some suplexes, and then he did the Eddie Guerrero dance. Furthermore, adding to what I just said a few minutes ago about the fact that why don't they just stay on this Eddie Guerrero thing?
Yeah, he tried to do the Three Amigos. I think that's what it's called, the three suplexes.
And then he tried to do the Eddie dance afterwards.
And he, for the life of him, could not get up after that second one. Poor Chad had to pull him up. Yep. And that pretty much summarizes Dominic Mysterio. He's so young, and he tries
time.
Really hard, but Chad carried him through this whole match, and it was sad.
Ever since they brought him on the main roster, I've said that he should have spent some time in an OVW. You need to practice your craft before you're on a main stage like this. And don't get me wrong, he's decent, he's okay, but this is where we're talking about developmental. This is where that developmental crap I've been spewing out of my mouth for what 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
This is where it comes into play. This is where these are the problems of why developmental needs to happen.
Yeah.
AEW is a huge problem.
It's a good story with with Ray and with Dominic, but Dom is just not ready.
Yeah. After the match, Miz hit him out with the skull crushing finale outside. Then we went back to another Alexa Bliss segment.
Yeah, but this is the last one because she's cured.
Yeah. All of a sudden, she goes from last week to this week, and she's magically cured.
Yeah. I almost feel like they taped this one earlier in the day. I feel like it was different, and they were like, "This just isn't working anymore."
Do you want to know what I think happened? Do you want to know what I think happened here?
Absolutely, tell me.
I think that they had somebody else lined up for the Elimination Chamber, and it fell through.
Yeah,
they were like, "Oh God, what do we do now?"
Yep. Because right after this, she declared herself the 6th person in the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't clear it with Adam or Sonya. She just became the 6th person. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm declaring myself.
Then they ran down the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, dude, it was crazy.
But you're right. I think you're onto something. I think they had somebody in mind for that 6th spot, and they fell through. So they just retaped Alexa, and boom, there it is.
A little bit of a new segment that I had to post that they canceled working with TNA. They were supposed to do some more work with TNA, the WWE was, and they canceled it, reported through Mickie James. So I have a feeling that Mickie James or Chelsea Green or one of the bigger names, Perazo, I think one of those women were set up to be the 6th entrant. And I think that they cut it and then lined somebody else up, and whoever they lined up fell through. I'm not sure who that was, or they changed the storyline and now she's got to wrestle a different match, or whatever the case may be. Something happened there because, again, I feel like this was very fly by night.
Yeah. You're right. Now that you pointed out, it definitely feels like that.
Then we had a match that took forever to start.
2 commercial breaks. 2.
Yeah, well, Rollins came out to the ring. Then there was a break. Then there was a SmackDown break run of the Elimination Chamber rundown. Yeah. Or over 6.5 minutes ago, we take another break. Then after Orton's entrance, I was waiting for another break, and ring the bell about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes after, up until the bell got rang here.
Yeah, it was.
Well, no. I take that back. They were in the ring for almost 10 solid minutes before they actually rang the bell. I forgot about that. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah, they rang the bell like hella late for this match. Yeah, Rollins was in the ring. I mean, it wasn't late by like they rang the bell and the match started, but like 10 minutes to get to a ring. You get what I'm saying? Like it took 10 minutes to get to them to ring the bell, just to even start the match. That's why I'm saying it's late. Like what? Why does it take that long? Did they like forget they had some sponsorships to get out on Raw before the end of the show, or what?
Yeah, it was odd. That's for sure.
We finally do get this match going though, and Orton took him in the corner, started hammering away on him, and it started the match. I think they picked up the pace pretty quick in this one. He tried for the stomp pretty early.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad when your commentary crew calls what's going to happen. And that happened in this match. The commentary was absolutely right. Rollins dropped onto the announcer's table, back in, and Orton got that hanging DDT. Like they called this all. Like I don't know if you heard it. They called the ending of this match about 4 minutes into the match.
No, I wasn't really listening.
So when he missed when he missed so at the beginning of the match when he missed the stomp, the commentary said it's only a matter of time before he hits that stomp and gets a 1-2-3 tonight. Sure as shit, he hit the stomp and got the 1-2-3. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I missed that.
yeah, and that's rare for the announce team to do. They try to sway you the other way. Rollins hit a amazing suicide dive. It looked great. And then of course back to another break. So we're at what, 3 commercial breaks in this match already?
Yeah.
1 in match, 2 pre-match.
Yep. Yeah, it was a
Then
long
I
time.
didn't like the psychology of the double knockdown, and then Orton like got up and just power slammed him for a 2 count. And then like Rollins jumps up and gets a super kick, and I'm just like, they're not. I don't know. It kind of bothered me how the whole thing went together.
Yeah.
And normally their matches are very well. Randy Orton has great matches, and Seth Rollins has been money lately. And I was very shocked that between these 2 guys that have wrestled together so many times, they could do this shit in their sleep. I get that it was mainly about advancing a tag team feud. I do get that. And I'll take that over either of them getting a clean pin. But this was nothing that we haven't seen before from these guys. They do know how to do it well. I gave them an average grade. I gave them a C+ in this match. I thought it was a good match, but it was very storybook Orton. It was very storybook Rollins. And for that, they lost some points in my book.
Yeah, I gave it a B-. I thought it was a pretty darn good match. The 2 things that I didn't care for, the superplex, Randy gave superplex on Seth Rollins, and Randy pushed him just a little too much, which meant Seth over-rotated just a little too much, and it was a hard landing. It almost borderline unsafe. I'm not sure what happened there. And then the screw finish at the end with Alpha Academy coming out. I don't know why we couldn't just have a good finish, but no, let me take that back. I know why we didn't get a good finish, but the screw finish at the end didn't really matter. It didn't do anything for storylines.
No, I mean, overall review on the show, I thought it was a fine example of what's wrong with Raw. I think most of the time it really doesn't feel like they have enough material to even do a 3-hour show anymore. And, I'm not even sure that AEW with their roster could fill 3 hours worth of wrestling every week. It seems like it's getting harder and harder and harder the more they got this roster. They did not do their job in a go-home show here. I don't know about you, but I have no more inkling to watch the Elimination Chamber than I did before the show started. They had already kind of laid down a lot of the show previously to this week. So all they had to do was come in here and hit those high points. And they failed to do that, in my opinion. So I think that there was some good wrestling in here, but they threw this thing together again, just like last week and just like SmackDown. There is a huge booking and writing problem in this company right now, and they really need to get a grip on it.
Yeah, Raw was iffy. I mean, it had 2 hours of just nothing, and 45 minutes of that, or 40 minutes of that, was the gauntlet match. But like, if it was a regular Raw and you had just one match there, you'd still be needing 35 minutes to fill with other stuff. And you're right. I don't know if they would have been able to fill 35 minutes.
And that's why you see 2 commercial breaks within 10 minutes at the end of the show, because quite frankly, I don't think it was a sponsorship thing. I don't think they had enough material to fill, so they just did another commercial break.
Yeah. Yep. So
the stalling is not doing this company any favors, man.
Yeah, it didn't sell me to get the pay-per-view. I mean, we're still going to watch it. We're still going to review it, but I mean, it didn't do anything for the casual fan to be interested in buying a Saturday afternoon pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I agree. There's no draw, especially for a Saturday afternoon Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. This was the least drawed, the least pushed show I've seen in a while. I'm not really looking forward to Elimination Chamber. We're going to watch it. We're going to review it, but yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. So onward towards news.
Wait, hold on. I just thought of something. Ready?
What?
What do you think Kevin Owens' least favorite pay-per-view is of all time?
Great Balls of Fire.
This Tuesday in Texas.
I like it. So, in news, this is not news. The first story I'm going to report about is so not news because it's been reported on for, I don't know, when did Stone Cold quit wrestling? When did he retire from wrestling? It's been 20
15 years.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
15, 20 years. Okay, he said, I don't know how many times that he'll never wrestle another match because he can't go full time and he can't go the way he used to, so he don't want to do it. So surfacing in the news today, I see Stone Cold Steve Austin to wrestle a full match at WrestleMania. I laughed. This story has came up, guys, every year for the last 15 years. When are fans going to stop being so damn gullible? He ain't coming back, and if he does, I don't want to see it. I don't want to remember Stone Cold Steve Austin as being one of those guys that tried to hack it at the end of his career like a Ric Flair. He rode
Yeah.
off in the sunset, let it go. You fans in your nostalgia pop bullshit need to let it go. You really do. Stone Cold Steve Austin will do nothing but embarrass himself on wobbly knees and a body that can't handle wrestling anymore. He left the business because his body couldn't take it anymore. So what do you think 20, 15 years of not wrestling is going to do to him? It's going to be like when they tried to bring Bret Hart back after he got kicked in the head by Goldberg 10 years later in WWE and wrestled that tag match.
Yeah. Yep.
Not viable.
Yeah, there's no way Stone Cold can wrestle a full match.
Did you even want to watch him if he could?
I no. This is what I want to see happen. I want to see Kevin Owens crap all over Texas and then have an open challenge at WrestleMania. And then he's going to come out and then we're going to hear the glass break. Austin's going to drive some sort of ATV or some sort of vehicle down to the ring. He's going to get out. And Kevin Owens is going to stand there and look at him. The bell's going to ring. Kick, stunner, 1, 2, 3, music, beers.
Yep. But they're going to have everybody believe that Stone Cold's going to run a full program at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens or with somebody else. And,
and the only other person that could do this would be Shawn Michaels. I know there's not even one report about that, but if you're going to do it, those are the only two people that you can have do it because open challenge and then all of a sudden the HBK music hits, that's a huge pop. He comes out. He'll probably need something to drive down there to a tank, I guess. And then, in the ring, super kick, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The show's
like I said, I don't feel like it's news. They always try to get Stone Cold Steve Austin to book a WrestleMania. Yeah. Next, you'll hear that they're trying to get Undertaker. Oh, they do every year. It's not this is not news, guys. This is something that they proverbially try to do every year. It's not news.
Right. I agree.
What is news, however, is the Mustafa Ali released on his Twitter this week that he'll see us all in 2.5 years. That means that the WWE is not granting his release and they're going to keep him. And now I don't understand why somebody like Mustafa Ali they're going to keep if he doesn't want to be there. He's not a main event talent. He's under no push. They're doing the same thing that they did with other talent. It's not that they want to use him or that they're going to use him. It's that they don't want anybody else to. And they can afford to let him sit on that contract and not go get draws for other companies. Right. They pushed that guy to the moon and back, and then he got hurt, and they replaced him with Kofi Kingston, and he was never right again. So Kofi Kingston owes the world to him because if Mustafa Ali would not have gotten hurt, Kofi would have never had that Kofi Mania run he had last year. Not once. So, I mean, is it sad for Mustafa Ali? Yeah, it is. But when you sign a contract, you're legally obligated to adhere to that contract. You knew this when you signed that.
Yeah, he just has been mishandled over the last year.
Yeah,
we haven't really seen very much of him.
That retribution angle got just nixed and everything else, and Yeah, he's gotten a bad shake and he's gotten some bad bookings, but at the same time, you don't control what you do or when you go or when you leave unless you're going to pull a Tony Storm and just buy your own ticket home.
And
Maybe that's what he needs to do.
he publicly announced that he wanted his release, and I wonder if by making it public, it kind of upset them.
It might have.
So they're just trying to teach a lesson or something like that. But yeah, I've always heard when I listen to Bruce Pritchard talk on his podcast that Vince is always like, well, if you don't want to be here, we'll let you don't have to be here, we'll let you go. So why they would keep him, I don't know.
Rob Van Dam also in the news this week. Rob Van Dam lobbied for a return to the WWE this week and was denied by WWE management. I don't think that they feel that he can wrestle on a full-term basis, and he doesn't want to. So it makes sense. They don't want to hire part-timers right now. They've got enough of them.
Yeah, he also claimed that he was on standby for Royal Rumble too. So
yeah, but I've seen denials of that through WWE management this just today. So I'm not sure. I don't know if Rob's just trying to be relevant here, or maybe it's really true. Those are those speculatory things that we just won't know until it comes out in the wash. But it sounds like he was really pushing to come back, and they are not letting that happen now. So I'm interested to see where he ends up or what he ends up doing. Does that mean we're going to have RVD AEW run, or is he going back to Impact? All I know is there's enough silicone in Katie Forbes to kill an entire family of elephants. But I think that she holds him back. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
I know they're married, and I know it's his wife, and congratulations, and I'm glad that you're happy, bro. But when you're pushing your wrestling product, this is just not a believable thing. I don't like it. It's just to get her a pop and attention, in my opinion. And I think that that's ruined his wrestling gimmick in the last year.
Yeah, I don't think WWE would even take a chance on Rob right now.
I don't either. And it makes sense, Rob Van Dam was the kind of guy that did everything to the best of his ability, high spot moves, all these big things, coast to coast, all these things that he's done for so long. But I mean, in his last run in WWE, he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to go to India. He didn't want to travel overseas. He didn't want to do the USO show.
Right.
He hated being there. He's admitted in his own interviews that it got so bad and the grind was so rough that he hated it. So why are they going to let somebody come back that has openly showed so much dissension for being on the road, especially now that COVID's over? He'd had a better shot at getting back in the WWE last year.
Yeah, it's WrestleMania season. Let the news and rumors just fly rampant.
Yep, exactly. And that's what you're seeing. And now on to the biggest news story breaking today. Well, maybe it was last night even. It actually broke last night, but it hit the main waves this morning. Cody Rhodes has been let go or mutually parted ways with AEW. It includes Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah.
Tony Khan put up a very nice post thanking Cody for all of the work he did at the beginning of AEW, and Brandy Rhodes for all of the fighting she did in and out of the ring. It was a nice send off for Tony Khan, but I have one question. Are they trying to copy the WWE? Because we've all learned this week that the thing with Shane McMahon was in fact a work. Shane McMahon is still hired with the WWE. He was never released from the company, just like we said he wasn't. We were dead on with that spot. I really would like to believe that this is not a work, but where does that leave Cody Rhodes? Is he going to focus on television, or is he going to focus on going back to WWE? If you want my opinion, I think this is where the developmental for AEW comes in line, because I have a feeling that Cody will probably make a WWE return at some point, but it's probably just to fundraise money to start his own developmental indie company.
No way. Nope.
That's my personal thought.
I got a different theory for you.
He's not happy at WWE. He's obviously not happy in AEW anymore. He's not going to go to Impact. I don't really know where else could he go. MLW?
I can tell you.
What's that?
He's going home. When you
Well,
have
that's
a
what
baby, it changes your life. I
it
think
does.
I think with him, with television and with the reality show and with Brandy being on the road with him, it's just too much. They just want to go home and live a life. He remembers what it was like growing up with dad not there and being on the road a lot. And he doesn't want to do that to his kid. I think he wants to go home and take maybe 2 or 3 years off and just spend some quality time at home and have some family time. And then once his
Well,
child gets old enough.
I would believe that, except for the report that Sean Rossap put out a couple hours ago. I would believe it until then. And Sean Rossap's been pretty on point. He works pretty closely with AEW. He reported a couple hours ago that Cody Rhodes had revealed that his team has been in contact with WWE, and he and his wife Brandy Rhodes left AEW shortly after those talks with WWE.
Well, I mean, of course.
And
Of course, you got to test the waters, but
Andrew Zarian tweeted shortly after the departure that he can 100% confirm that Cody's camp has been in contact with WWE officials.
yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. That's
And
hey, Cody's going to be
then
available. Are you interested? No,
this
you're
is how
not.
the
Okay,
blow
thanks. Have a good day.
this is how the blowback went, and this is what makes me feel like it's legitimate, that it's not a work, because it literally came out that Andrew Zarian posted that they can confirm Cody's been in contact with WWE officials. Shortly afterwards, that's when Sean's Rossap came out and said, shortly before the announcement, WWE officials were aware of the situation and also knew that an announcement would be dropped. We've heard that the two sides have at least had discussions, but WWE was well aware that an announcement regarding Rhodes' departure would be made at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
That's too much information for a company to know that has no interest in somebody.
I mean, that's the contact. That's the contact. I mean, come on.
I
It's
feel
one thing.
like
It's
WWE.
no. Let me hear. Somebody from Cody's camp called and spoke to somebody in the WWE and was like, "Hey, listen, we're putting out a report at 10 o'clock today, just so you're aware. If you're interested, the phone is open. The phone line's there." And that's the contact, and that's what got leaked. I mean, this is getting blown way out of proportion.
I personally think that this goes a little deeper than what you think. I have a personal feeling that Cody Rhodes did a phenomenal job with launching this company, because Tony Khan didn't have the book until this year sometime. So a lot of the base things that were done in AEW were done by Cody Rhodes. His passion and everything else he's done. I have a feeling that they're trying to sign Cody Rhodes for more than just a WWE wrestling contract. I think they're trying to put him into the creative. He may not even wrestle for WWE. He might just work creative. But I have a feeling that they think he's the guy that can pull him out of this. I could be wrong. It's speculatory. There's no confirmation of this besides what I just read.
Now he could be a consultant. He could work from home and throw ideas. That's fine.
I don't think he wants to work for home. I think the whole ploy was to get Brandy out of the AEW contract so she can be at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've asked him if he was going to stop wrestling or slow down when his kid was born, and he said, under no circumstances am I going to do such things.
Yeah.
I will spend time with my family, and I will make my family important, but I will never stop pushing younger talent. I will never stop loving and giving to the wrestling business. So in no way, in shape or form, do I think Cody Rhodes is done wrestling or going home and just taking care of his family.
Now,
there's been reports for the last 4 months that Cody Rhodes has been unhappy with AEW. He's unhappy with the way they're booking him. He's unhappy with the fact he lost the book. The fact that Cody lost the book is the main reason why I think Cody's done. It's the same thing his daddy did. He lost the book for Crockett Promotions and showed up in polka dots in WWE 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
it's father-son, man. I'm telling. Yeah. So there's been a lot of talk about a major falling out between Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes. And I think this is the end of that falling out. They came to a mutual decision and parted ways before it became a blowout.
Now, what if at their pay-per-view he shows up unannounced, runs in, does a big move, and everyone's like, he's not supposed to be here. He's not with the company. He would be the biggest heel that company had ever seen.
What they should have done is not produce this news story whatsoever and let him just appear. And I think this goes with my speculatory. I think that's exactly what's going on, and that's why they made it a public story. They don't want it to be a forbidden door, but they want it to be like the tide turned. You get what I'm saying? They bring Cody in, he does this big move. People know that there's a potential he could be there.
Yeah.
The same way that everybody knew that CM Punk was going to reappear in wrestling again. You get what I'm saying? They're not going to go out and promo that Cody Rhodes is going to be there, but they want to put the thought in your head that Cody Rhodes could potentially be at WrestleMania or at the Elimination Chamber. And I think they're building that buzz just like they did for Edge. It came out that Edge was coming back, dude, and everybody was hitting him up, and he denied all this stuff. Well, people were asking Cody Rhodes during the Royal Rumble time if he was going to be returning to the WWE. The only thing he said is, I will not be at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He never said anything further. All these things added up tells me that Cody's trying to finish it on the top. He wants to go back to the company where he started. It never sat right with him the way that he left WWE. And you can hear that from his podcast he did after he left WWE. It never sat right with him the way that company left. So I personally believe that he's going back to where he started to finish his career.
Yes, he will end up in WWE at some point in time. I don't think it'll be in the next 3 years.
I think it'll be in the next 3 months.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Cody Rhodes knows good and well if he spends 3 years away from the business and comes back that he's not going to get the notoriety that he does right now being white hot. You know as well as I do, when you have momentum in wrestling, you need to take it while you have it and when you can get it. And I think that's exactly, I mean, these are differences in opinions, but that's just the way I feel about it. I think Cody Rhodes would be stupid to leave wrestling for 3 years.
And I think he's done. I think he's done.
I don't.
For now.
I don't think he's done in any way, shape, or form. He's making a major change. I just, in the WWE talks could be Swerve. He could be appearing for some new company. He could be putting all this time and effort into elevating. And there's another speculatory rumor that Cody Rhodes is buying Ring of Honor. So I don't know how much truth is behind that statement, but that's actually believable, in my opinion. Him buying Ring of Honor makes sense.
Two rings and a library.
Yeah, he'd have to get his own talent, but he acquired all the original talent for AEW in the first place. So I think that he could do it. I think that Cody Rhodes had a taste of what it's like to have full control over a company. And then it got taken from him, and now he wants that control back. And the only way to get that back is to start something of your own. I think he realized that he entered a joint venture, and then the millionaire took over the company.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
That's what I think happened. And this is all a fallout because of that. Now, where he's going to go and what he's going to do, I don't really know, but I do wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, he'll be a great dad.
Stardust will return to WWE.
As long as that's not Sawdust, that's trademarked.
So,
any other news, notes, rumors?
If you got anything to add to that, I mean, I'm cool with it. But no, I mean, that's pretty much the major news stories right now. The only thing I would definitely have to add to that is, if you're new to the wrestling world and you're a new fan, and the only thing you watch is AEW and WWE, get out there and go through YouTube. Look at some of these indie companies and watch some different wrestling and see if it doesn't change your perspective on the current brand that is known as professional wrestling.
Yeah.
because there is some really good stuff out there that I've been watching lately.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of indies, you want to highlight 3 shows coming up in the state of Michigan?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. This Thursday, February 17th, Insane Wrestling Revolution will be in Monroe, Michigan. Bell time 6:30 p.m. You can see former WWE superstars Rhino and Heath Slater take on the Death Threat Army. That'll be huge. That
Yes, it
will
will.
be. Also, former WWE superstar Connor and Impact Wrestling's Jake Something will also be there, along with Madman Fulton. They've got a
Yeah,
huge event there Thursday. That's this Thursday, probably today as you're listening to this, February 17th, 6:30 p.m., Monroe, Michigan. Insane Wrestling Revolution. You can find them on Facebook. Just search Insane Wrestling Revolution. I think it'll be pretty
gotcha.
awesome. I'm not able to get over there. Thursdays are pretty busy for me.
Yeah.
But and then Saturday, February 19th, Ultimate Championship Wrestling. It presents Psychological Warfare in Saginaw, Michigan. Bell time scheduled for 7:30 p.m. The Ultimate Championship or the UCW Premier Champion Sean Tyler will be taking on Roy, the Working Man Williams, in a Pandora's Box match. It's going to be interesting. You can find them on Facebook, UCW Bay City. Again, that's Ultimate Championship Wrestling, Saginaw, Michigan, this Saturday, February 19th at 7:30 p.m. They're also on YouTube. They have a weekly Friday night show. New episodes premiere 6 p.m. Just search for UCW on YouTube. Again, that's UCW Bay City. This Saturday, February 19th.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know we definitely promote future shows and companies that we learn about. I was given a link today for a company that is going by the American Wrestling Experience. They are a Southern Michigan company. They are doing a show. I believe their next show is March 19th in Coldwater, Michigan at 64 East Chicago Street. They're very AEW-esque. They sign a wrestler, and on their Facebook page, it will show a promo picture and say that they are All American. So they've got some decent talent signed to their company, though. I was looking at it. It looks like it's a newer company. I don't know if you've got any, if you've heard about this company at all.
I have not. I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm actually searching them right now.
Yeah, check up AWA, American Wrestling Experience. They're on Facebook. They have their own page over on Facebook. I'm always about pushing new companies, and yeah, this one's there. They are at facebook.com/American Wrestling Experience. They look very professional. I like it. They just signed Lord Mitchell Taylor, Slaughterhouse, Rod Street, Maltese Tiger, some okay names in the business.
Yeah.
Rod Street looks like a cop. Brutus Atwell. Brutus is a pretty big dude. Ryan Paradise. So I think that they've got something decent going on. They've got little promo TikToks and it looks like something we'll have to check out if we get time, if we're not at another show.
Yeah, that's Saturday, March 19th, 7 p.m. in Coldwater. AWA or AWE, American Wrestling Experience. The best damn pro wrestling show this weekend is what they're calling it.
Yep. So, it'll be interesting to check that out. The more and more we learn, the more and more we find out. On the national wrestling scene, guys, I have an announcement of one show that is coming back to Detroit. Ladies and gentlemen, GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, will be back at Harpo's in Detroit. I believe that is August 19th. Let me double check that. April 23rd. I meant April anyways, but no. GCW returns to Harpo's in Detroit, April 23rd. I am going to try to be there. to give a full review of the show. I'm also going to try and see if I can get back and talk to some of the guys in GCW. It would probably be the biggest highlight that we've done for a company. And yeah, I'm going to try and put in some work on that. So that's
It'll
all
be
I have.
interesting. I've seen, I've seen them on TV a little bit or on YouTube a little bit. It'd be interesting to try to go to the show. I mean, there's on the completely opposite side of the state in Iron Mountain, there's a UPW show that day. So
Yeah.
we'll have to pick and choose. One's going one side, one's going the other.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and there's going to be a lot of weekends, to be fair, that we would probably like to go to shows together. That's going to end up being to where it's not going to happen.
So just a quick recap: Insane Wrestling Revolution Thursday, the 17th in Monroe, Michigan. Ultimate Championship Wrestling Saturday, the 19th in Saginaw, Michigan. And then the last one I want to plug real quick: Imperial Wrestling Entertainment will be presenting Backbreakers Ball. That'll be on Saturday, February 26th in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Kids 10 and under are free. They're having a fatal four-way title match between the champion Backwoods Bam against Roberto Cruz, Corey Carr, and old school Rick Corden. Excuse me, I can't read my handwriting again. But you can find out more about IWE, that's Imperial Wrestling Entertainment, at iwegladiators.com. And again, their event is Saturday, February 26th in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Imperial Wrestling Entertainment on Facebook. So those are the next 3 events that we are aware of. If you want us to cover your event, you can send us an email at wrestlingbytes@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, thewrestlingbytes.com, and link up with us there. Send us a message on Facebook. Send us an email there as well. Also, if you want to follow us, we are on TikTok. You can just search at Wrestling Bytes on TikTok. But yeah, you can find us anywhere. We also on the website, you can see all of the upcoming shows in Michigan and a few that are out of state as well. And follow us on Facebook at Wrestling Bytes Podcast. We have a page there where we list all of the upcoming events as well.
Yeah. The only other plug I have is Saturday, March 5th, bell time at 7:00 at the Coliseum in Kalkaska, Michigan. I don't know anybody else on the show, but it is an IWTV taping for MCPW, and the main event of the night is none other than the featured wrestler of last week, Adam Wick, for a MCPW championship match against Jamal King.
Yeah, Mr. Chainsaw Pro Wrestling.
All of us here at Wrestling Bytes are pulling for Adam Wick to take home the title. The kid deserves it. He was a phenomenal wrestler. And tonight we're going to have an interview featuring him that's going to go on here in just a few minutes. So
awesome.
Stick around for that. And it was a great time, and it was a great interview, and he's welcome back on the show anytime he wants to come on. As well as there's going to be announcements of future interviews with the Death Threat Army, and I'm going to try and get them all together for one podcast. It's going to be chaos, but I love chaos. So
yeah, we'll have to get a video camera in there for that one.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to cut to this interview, ladies and gentlemen. And after this interview, I think we're pretty much over with for the night. So at this point, I think that me and Chris can pretty much say our farewells. We'll get to the interview and let you guys check out the great interview I had with Adam Wick.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for allowing me to be on the show this week. Check us out at thewrestlingbytes.com. Send us an email. Let us know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad. Send us questions. We'd love to read them on air. And until next time, I say keep it between the ropes.
And again, Chris, you're doing a great job. I appreciate everything you do for the podcast and all the hard work you've been putting in, man. It shows. And I thank you and our fans and our listeners from the bottom of my heart this week. This podcast would not go on if it wasn't for that, for everything that you do as well as what I do, and combined it works. So again, Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's, without further ado, get to the interview, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Bytes podcast. I am your host, Pun the Psych, and here with me is the recipient of the Wrestler of the Night Award last weekend at IPW's Heart and Soul. This kid was the most impressive wrestler I've seen on the entire roster. He did what he was supposed to do. he gets the psychology in a wrestling match. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam effing Wick here today. How are you doing today, Adam?
Oh, very good, very good. Tired, but very good.
Yeah,
Bet you heard that a lot, but yeah, I'm more happy than good.
that's good. That's good to hear. I definitely enjoyed your match with Mr. Weir. It was a good build-up. I liked the promos that you guys cut beforehand. Your look was very impressive. Both of you have good looks. I'm wondering, was that a previous tag team that you guys had going on? Were you guys like kind of teaming up a little
Um,
bit?
so the Death Threat Army, if you don't know who we are a group of I think 7 or 8 people, in Michigan or throughout the Midwest. The founder of and the I guess I would say the leader of our group is Aaron Orion. Um, and then the second in command would be Jack Price. Uh, but we are, as IPW and the Michigan scene, it seems like we have come to be not a tag team anymore. It seems like in our eyes, we are just a civil war that needs someone to step in and say, "Hey, this is enough of this shit needs to happen." I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry,
Oh no, no,
but
this is not for children. This is totally fine.
okay,
Yep.
okay. This is but I don't know what Aaron thinks about all this because he hasn't been in IPW in over a year or more, and then there hasn't been. Uh, it just seems like everywhere we go, all of us are fighting somehow, somewhere, some way, whether it's XICW in Detroit or Metro Pro or in March, like what you just seen up in Kalkaska at MCPW or IPW, we are always somehow fighting. But we have originated to be the best tag team in Michigan. I don't care who you put in front of me. We will prove it to this day that we are the best in Michigan, no matter who or what you throw at us.
Okay.
That's not being cocky. That's being proven facts. But yeah, that's what we are established to be, a tag team, no matter what.
Okay.
But there has been some just heated arguments that need to be settled in the ring between myself and Alex Weir, or myself and Jack Price, or it's just been chaos without the leader of our group not being around to have order.
Well, it definitely puts it well into better perspective. And I greatly appreciate you for clarifying that, because I mean, I knew that you guys were all Death Threat Army, and I've definitely seen Death Threat Army, but it looked like there was a real eternal struggle between you two. Like you were kind of trying to get him to, I don't know, maybe see the light. I guess it would be the best way I could see it. And to be honest with you, I got behind you. I kind of felt your frustration in not hearing any of the other promos you've cut about this or anything else you've done. Anybody could have got behind you with that. I thought it was great. You guys did a great job. Ring psychology you get, and we're going to get into that because I'm going to ask you that right now. We're going to hit those hard questions. Like, what made you want to become a wrestler in the first place?
So this is kind of, I say this every time, this is a fucked up situation where I was in the hospital for having appendicitis, and it was on Christmas Day,
Ooh.
Christmas Eve, I'm sorry. Going into Christmas Day, the surgery, I was there Christmas Eve, Christmas Day was the surgery. And I was there for a couple days after that. Well, yeah, wrestling came on, and it was Ring of Honor, and I was watching Jimmy Jacobs, and I just remember I firmly but hardly remember Jimmy Jacobs, just the way he comes out and everything.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dude, who is this? And then I go home, and then a commercial for Monday Night Raw comes on, and then I watch it, and then it's Umaga versus Jeff Hardy, and I started being a fanboy of Jeff Hardy like everyone else is.
Yeah.
So I started practicing the swanton and on the trampoline and all that stuff. And then I met a guy through my mom's friend. I don't know. It's a hard thing to explain. I've gotten training at a company called the MWO, which is a company who's no more. But it's where they started the train. And then Aaron, who was from there too, found me, took me under his wing, and was like, "Hey, I want you to come with me, and I'm going to train you to get better. I see something in you, and I see a potential in you, and I want to see you get better and better." So Aaron and Jack Price, I would say, and Alex Weir were the ones that kind of like guided me down the right way. And at the time, me and Tommy Vendetta were on the same path length of me and Aaron training through him the most. But Tommy is exceptionally better, to where I needed more improvement with psychology and moving about the ring, where it came natural to Tommy Vendetta, and just it flowed better. And then shortly but surely, my thing was I just did more shows in Michigan, and then I got it. And then I was like, okay, I get it. And it took me to wrestle like Eddie Kingston and Hernandez in a tag team match. And they talked to me. They're like, no, sell yourself more. And then it took Zach Gowen. And again, I got to wrestle Jimmy Jacobs this last year in June, which is so dope. That I get to wrestle the guy who I literally look up to in wrestling. Yeah. And it was just him talking to me, and then watching Jimmy Jacobs and how he moves in the ring and how flaunty he is, and how
that makes me so proud.
Extraordinary he is in the ring. And nobody gives a lot of credit to Jimmy Jacobs.
I do.
I just don't hear a lot. Like, I don't hear it in the Michigan independent wrestling scene.
You know, he is very, very he is probably the dark horse of Michigan independent wrestling. When you hear about Michigan independent wrestling, you hear people talk about guys like Rob Van Dam and Rhino and Sabu. You do not hear them talk about Jimmy Jacobs, who has done more backstage for wrestling than any one of those guys combined. Not mentioning his in-ring career.
And that's why I love when he has that time of taking that time to pull you aside and say, hey, why don't you do this? And create it as your own, and make it flaunt it and be more exaggerated in the ring, and take those moments and pause and breathe and tell that story.
That was the draw that I had with Jimmy Jacobs. Now, I told you I did 22. I've been in the business for 22 years. I trained in with, and this is a short story because I told you I'd explain to you this sometime. I trained underneath Scotty Z for CWM and Pro Wrestling Worldwide. Jimmy Jacobs' first bump he ever took in wrestling, and I have the autograph over here to prove it, was from me.
Wow.
Yep. I remember him when he trained to be a ref, did commentary, when he was jumping Jimmy Jacobs, pogo Jimmy Jacobs, all of that. So I have a lot of respect for that kid, and I always will, because, he's the first person I got to learn my love of teaching wrestling. It's my true love, is teaching wrestling. I learned that I love that through Jimmy Jacobs. So I'm really proud to hear that from somebody else, man. That is awesome to hear that he was inspired you in that way. For real. He's supposed to be on the podcast next month. So, but that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest inspirational, I think the top guys to make my character are Jimmy Jacobs being number one, of course, because that man is the best. But
and his story is so unique too. The things he's been through and everything he's done is just. Oh yeah,
if through rehab and putting himself in a better corner. Yeah. I just remember first meeting him, and then him being, there's no disrespect to him, to being a complete another asshole. And then I'm thinking, wow, they say don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
But then the next time I met him, he was the nicest fucking guy. And I'm maybe it was a bad day or bad time. People have that time. But getting to know him and getting to talk to him more and more and getting in his head, it was man, this is actually this is a pretty dope dude.
And he's got a really brilliant head.
I mean, like I said, one of the best creative minds that I've ever been around in my entire life. And just sitting there and listening to him was the best.
I 100% agree with you. And I also agree that he is probably one of the most under-recognized wrestlers in Michigan independent wrestling history, bar none. 1,000-fold. Something that you did say impressed me, because one of the first things I walked up to you and said when I handed you that T-shirt is the psychology you have and the grasp in the ring looks like you were a natural, and you told me you're not a natural, that you had to learn it over time. That's impressive for what from base wrestlers to where you're at. You're at a higher level ring psychology than the years of experience that you have. And I don't know if that's because you just booked yourself in shows, like you said, as much as you did, but whatever you did it right. And your trainers obviously did it right as well, because man, with the 3 years experience in the business you have.
Yes, 3 or actually 4 will be 4 this year. But they like I gotta give a lot of credit to Jack Price and Aaron Orion to being like, it's like when I think, it's like, this is the problem. Like we always, like Death or Army, we want to help the youngest, like the young kids get it, rather than it take 10 or 9 years and like stress it to them, be like, hey man, this is what it is. And like tell them the secrets basically of wrestling, of this is what it takes this is what it takes. This is what you need to, these are like the people you need to wrestle to get it through your head, to get other base, like psychology wise, and like who you can wrestle on the fly, you can wrestle in spot matches, you can wrestle in hardcore matches, you can wrestle in different styles of matches. There's tons of styles of matches, but until you get to know them all and like you have that down to a pat, you're like, you can do everything and anything.
Yeah.
Like Aaron Ryan and Jack Price, man, there are guys, those two guys, and I gotta give a credit, Tommy Vendetta. Those 3 guys are the guys who are like picking it up so fast, and it's just like you're on their level, but you can't get on their level, and it's just like, dude. And then you ask them, and then they teach you, and I'm on that. I'm like, okay, then now I get it, and it's just, that's why we try to help as much as we can if the other wrestlers ask for help. There are kids out there, like, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm really
keep going, bro. Go. You're good.
Like Top Gun Max, who you saw in the beginning,
impressive
Solo, Solo and Zach. I forget his. I just remember his first name, but Zach and
I know
Brutus. Those guys are like the guys I truly like love and would love to see help, like get better and better. And those are the guys who come backstage immediately, like come and find the Death Threat Army guys and are like, hey, what did you think? What did I need to do better? And we're always telling them, hey, this is what you need to do better. Right. Brutus is just another guy who's like, man, I just want to call it out there, because he's like, I just feel like if I call it back here, I'll forget everything. If I just call it out there, I'll have more fun, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But not to give away secrets, but whatever.
Oh no, we just literally covered this on the podcast that's going to be airing probably tonight. We were talking about calling matches on the fly, and how a lot of guys you don't get to see. Like if you book a show at a company and you show up and you're on the board and you're wrestling somebody you've never met in your entire life, you generally have to come up with a way to make that match work. So whether you talk it out before the match or you call it in the ring, it's got a significant difference. If you have the ability to call it in the ring, you can have a great match just as well as you can plan it out with somebody, but you have to have the experience, the psychology, and know how to call a match. If you don't, you're a deer in the headlights. If you try to call it in match and you don't know what you're doing, you are a deer in the headlights. Somebody will tell you to do something. You're going to go, huh? What?
Exactly.
Wait, do what now? Yeah. So
a guy who like helped me with that more is Aaron Orion and Nate Matson too.
Okay.
The amazing Nate Matson. I'm sorry, that's what he likes to be called. But he is a guy who loves to call out there and always is like call on the fly, and then like we'll call spots in the back, but when we'll call it on the fly out there, it's just like that kind of confused me. But when I like got in the ring with him and he's like, do these things, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And he moves you around, but it's frustrating, but it's also like, I can get it if I get it, but I got it right immediately. I was like, okay, this is dope.
Yeah. And that's awesome. And like I said, guys like Solomon, man, his strikes are believable. Like a lot of the stuff he does is very well. Like he's definitely got some promise. I can tell you that. He was very impressive, just to bring him up because you mentioned his name. But back into what we're talking about, like the way that you grasp the business is the way that makes me smile, because like the perfect rest, like the people that can put on a good wrestling match, they'll put on a match and it'll make you physically want to jump in a ring. If you're a wrestler and you watch a good wrestling match, you will be pumped after that match. You're like, I want to get in the ring now. Now I want to go. I want to showcase myself because I just watched two people put everything they got out there, and it's that rush. You just feel that emotion, and you just And you after your guys' match, I said it all night long. Like I really need to just go jump in a ring and work out for a while because I feel like I got some amped up energy I can get rid of, and so that's how I know you guys are doing it right. Impressive, man. I haven't seen a lot of guys in the business lately that have had the ability to grasp the full circle of a match, psychology, the character, holding your professionalism, keeping everything in tight. And you two were the ones that stood out for that factor all around, not just your wrestling ability, not just your wrestling skill, taking the whole product and putting it together in a whole and telling a story and keeping people on the edge of their seats. That's what you guys did. And I was, I planned on recording a bunch of your match. And after it started and I watched you guys go at it, I put my phone down and sat there and watched your match move for move. And I could probably tell you the majority of it still at this point, because that's how decent of a match you guys had. Not to take away from the main event. It was a great main event, but you guys were probably the match of the night, in my opinion. You guys work very well together. That's always great to see. It reminds me of the good old days of Michigan independent wrestling and where it's getting back to now. It's starting to get back to where it used to be, where there was many companies and options for these guys to go to. And I'm happy to see that that's available now for you guys again, and that you guys have all these different places where you can perform and where you have the ability to work on and improve and showcase the crafts that you have. I think that's a big thing as well, that you have the ability to get to these different venues and to go in Michigan instead of being outsourced to Chicago, because for many years, that's what we had to do.
There's so many. This is what sucks about independent Michigan, like Michigan wrestling, is the fact that there's so many companies in Michigan where it's just, now it's like there's too many companies in Michigan.
Yep.
To where I only like to wrestle for one place in Detroit, one place up north, and one place on the West Coast. And that way, It's 3 companies that I just work for throughout the year. And then I can travel outside the state and work in Ohio and Indiana, down to West Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, all them areas. And I'm like, oh man, this feels great, because we have guys in Tennessee, we have guys in Virginia for the Death Threat Army who Kenji Brashear or Braj. I don't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. I butchered that. And James, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm starting to get really bad with names. I think it's James Stutton.
Okay.
Yes, James Stutton. He's another guy who's so side note, he's the guy who also who him and Aaron were in the Death Threat Army, and sorry, these two technically started the Death Threat Army while they both were Aaron and James are in the Army together, training in the Army, and then they're both wrestlers, so they go to the local show, and they both sat down there and they're like, man, what could we come up with? And like something Army. And they're like, how about the Death Threat Army? And then they just like, let's just roll with that. And it just started picking up. And then Aaron moved back to Michigan after he left the Army. And him and Jack Price just started taking off and created, and they pulled in Alex Weir to me and Tommy Vendetta to Isaiah Bronner. And then we just started fucking killing it out here. No matter where we go, even if we're bad or good, they're still chanting the 3 letters, and it's just amazing. It's just like we could be gone for years, let's just say, and then we'll still be back on this. Like people be like, "Oh shit, it's DTA! It's going to be a great match." Like, there's a guy, Cody Fleming, who has another podcast in Michigan. I didn't even know he was there. And I guess he was telling me, he's like, dude, as soon as you came out, I just knew it was just going to be a fucking banger of a match that you guys are going to have. He goes, not to take away from the card, but it's like, you two work the best. And he goes, any of the guys in the Death Army work the best. No matter who you guys wrestle, you guys always put over the guy more than yourselves. This is how we do it out here.
Yeah, you guys bring it at a level that is working. You guys are white hot. The biggest pops of the night were for you, Alex Weir, and Jack Price. And that's just my opinion. It's not even a favorable opinion. It was in my straight notes after the show. Like, the biggest cheers of the night came to you three. They popped hard when Weir came out with at the beginning in the promo with his staff, his bow, and then like when you came out, dude, they went nuts. Like I looked around and everybody was standing directly on their feet, just going crazy. So I knew right then and there, like, again, that when you came out, I kind of knew this is going to be a good match. I could just tell that you guys had a link. You know what I mean? Whether I'd seen you guys wrestle much or not, I believe I've caught you at a PPW show. I might be wrong there.
Sorry,
but did you say you're sorry?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Because that's really, you don't see that style of the guy you see regularly of Adam Wick on like the independent scene is the guy who you see at IPW and XI.
Okay.
Because Adam, everyone's thing is they cheer for me. They're like Adam effing Wick, to where I had to it's almost like G-rated myself down to
right
at PPW. So nothing against them. It's just
they're more family oriented. I get
very
it.
family.
I get it.
But here's my thing. If there's death matches, okay, you can swear. Come on.
Yep.
Because if you're showing basically blood and gore, I can say fuck. Fuck you guys. I'm sorry. I've literally said that to promoters and everything like that. I don't care. If there is a death match on the show and you just said that there's it's a PG show,
you just oxymoron yourself. I mean,
you're basically a hypocrite in a way.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I love deathmatch wrestling. Just it's not fair for who I am, because my character is a spoiled brat who gets whatever he wants when he wants, and he's manipulative and he gets in people's heads. So
I like that approach.
If I can do that, then I have made the day, which I almost had the match, and then Alex Weir is an asshole. So
yeah, I can see that, and you did almost have that match. I really thought you had that match. So much that if there was a Vegas line, I probably would have threw a few dollars on the fact that you would have won that match. It was completely surprising that he did get the victory, but he did. And congratulations to him, because obviously he pulled one off on you. But to be honest with you, I think you could roll that match back and forth 15 times and you're going to have an 8-7 margin, if you know what I mean.
Yes, 100%.
Now, you took a hell of a fall I don't even know what kind of a match that was. I watched the video and I was just like, holy crap. There was a bunch of ladders set up in the ring and you took a nasty fall. Number one, I wanted to ask you, were you okay after that?
You're talking about the ladder match, the 8-man tag team ladder match, scramble ladder match,
yeah,
the 3-ring, yeah. Let's see. I only remember me falling off the ladder. That match was honestly a whole lot of fun. I can't.
What caught my eye is I was flipping through your Facebook before I interviewed you, and I went way down, and you had a post on there that said, "Remember that time I almost died?" And so I had to watch it. And dude, that looked like if you came out of that without a scratch or a broken bone or anything wrong with you, man, you are a lucky dude. And
I was completely and utterly fine.
Wow.
I literally said, "Hey, I'm doing this in the ring," and he's like, "Okay," and I said, "Just move," and I just took the fall.
You were dangerously close to smacking those ropes, and you might have. I watched back 100 times to see if you smacked the rope, and it kind of looked like you did, but then again, it looked like you fell flat. But either way, man, like the thoughts that had to have gone through your head when you were laying there trying to figure out if you were okay were probably pretty crazy. Like what the fuck just happened type of moment.
Basically, yes.
Man, that's impressive. So, you got 3 years in the business. Obviously everybody's got goals, and I know not everybody says, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm going to make it to the WWE. Not everybody has that dream. So I'm kind of curious, where could you see yourself, or where's your dream scenario?
To do a lot more independent wrestling scene as of right now, like future goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like my main goal is to be in like New Japan or AEW, kind of like that style, or MLW down in Florida. But there's a lot of like independent companies who I would love to work for.
Just watch those Court Bauer contracts.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, you ain't lying. But it's something like we just need to be in. Just like Isaiah Bronner is out here killing it in Ohio and killing it in Texas, and being and representing who we are, no matter what. He's Isaiah Bronner, but he's also representing the Death Threat Army in a way. This is how we roll all the time. We're always like, hey, this is who we are. This is what we're gonna do, and we are just killing it out here.
Yeah, you guys are. Like I said, I've caught more traction from DFA from the Death Threat Army than DTA than anybody. Your guys' stuff is kind of prominent right now, and you're on a momentum swing. And like I said, you guys are white hot, and jumping on that momentum like you are is very smart. Being in a position where you actually have a world title shot coming up north for, is that XICW?
That is for a company called Mr. Chainsaw Pro Wrestling.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yep, and they are always like based in like the Traverse City area, Kalkaska area.
Okay.
Like, they're on IWGTV, or whatever you say that, IWTV. Yep. But they're a solid company, with solid dudes on the card. Myself and I don't know why. Jamal King. I'm sorry, I'm drawing blanks here.
Oh,
Jamal King I've wrestled him before in IPW.
Okay.
I just recently wrestled him 3 weeks ago now, and I'm not worried about just going in there and being scared of him. I'm not scared of anybody at all. I never have and never will be.
Right.
I am more or less know that I'm going to get in his head and try to win the match and just pin him at the end of the night, 1, 2, 3, to become the new world heavyweight champion, and to bring his attitude and his cockiness and arrogance down the level, because that's what he needs. He thinks he can destroy all of the Death Threat Army. Well, snap back into reality. He pulled one off. Like I was saying to Aaron and everyone else, it's like he pulled one off on Tommy Vendetta, who was the current world champion there at MCPW, and he beat him in his style of match, which is a Carcassa street fight, and Tommy Vendetta lost the title. Then next month he wrestled the 8 Mile Destroyer, Isaiah Bronner, and lost that match. and that's like just playing the lottery. If you could beat Isaiah and without coming out with an injury on you or not getting your head kicked off or crumbled in, then that's like winning the lottery. And it blows my mind and boggles me to this day that he would absolutely come out of there not injured.
Right.
Because Isaiah is a brick wall of a man. So now that he beat him, well, it's time to face up to the youngest and most intimidating minds and getting in your head guy is Adam Wick. I know in my heart of hearts, I know wrestling him. I know what it takes to beat him, and there's not a lot.
Right. Well, I think you can do it. Us here at Wrestling Bytes are behind you, and we're rooting for you. We're going to try and make it up there, and show our support to you because, like I said, we appreciate all of the talent in Michigan independent wrestling, and we really appreciate the great talent in Michigan independent wrestling. And we want to showcase you guys. We want to give you guys a spot and an opportunity to showcase what you got. And I feel like more people need to step up and do things like this, like podcasts and exposure, because you guys go out there and wrestle every night. And the only thing you have to share is a video, and it goes on social media half the time. And the other half the time, you never see it for 6 months. So I feel like giving you guys an opportunity to get something out, and it comes out within a week. It gives you guys more promotion for what your upcoming events and things going on. I feel like you guys deserve that. I wish we would have had platforms like we have now 20 years ago. It's amazing to see the change in promotion for wrestling. I do feel the independent market is overcrowded, but I feel like, as the Macho Man would say, the cream always rises to the top. And that's exactly what the Death Threat Army has done.
We are, if you haven't been behind, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, it's always something going on with all of us. And luckily, the only company that has us booked as a tag team, and we are a tag team to this day, is Mr. Chainsaw Pro Wrestling.
Right. I
mean, that's the only place we can get along because Aaron's there in control, and he's like, hey, get your shit together, settle it back here, don't settle it out there, don't make a fool out of yourself. We need to be a tag team. And with Aaron being, the leader of the group and stepping up and being a leader that he is, man, it's good to have him there. But now with IPW and Jack Price not listening to us and him being out on his own and not caring about the Death Threat Army because he doesn't care about it, and now that Alex is trying to be with, Jack Price, it's what more do you do?
Right.
I mean, Tommy Vendetta and I are on the same page. We always have been, and trying to, make the Death Threat Army a tag team. That's what we want.
Right.
But nobody seems to get that. They want to create their own Death Threat Army. They want to make their own within the Death Threat Army. Like, dude, no, we're just the Death Threat Army. Stop trying to make it another Death Threat Army.
Right.
We are Death Threat Army right here. This is all of us. We are brotherhood. Why do you got to do that? And if it's not one of us, it sucks. And then Aaron's like, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. I
feel like it falls back to the hottest gimmick in wrestling of all time, and that's the NWO. They feel like the natural course of progression after a certain point in time is to break off in multiple groups within a unit. Is it the right thing to do? Probably not. It didn't work. It didn't work. We all know it didn't work. You know what I mean?
You're right. I stepped away from the Death Threat Army when I was working for XI because I was promised a bunch of things, and then now I don't know what to do without them. While I'm working at XI, it's just none of them I don't rarely see on the show anymore.
So you kind of drink some Kool-Aid and now you're starting to taste some chemical feedback?
Yeah, but the chemicals are really good for some reason. They're addicting.
Kind of like some lean, probably, huh? Man,
Yeah.
that's again, I'm definitely impressed with your work, man, and I want you to keep it up. And I want to have you back again on this show at some point in time. Um, even if it's just a 5-minute spot every once in a while to keep us up to date of what you got going on. Um, I think that you're already one of the prominent names of Michigan independent wrestling, but I think if you keep it up, you'll be one of the guys. And I think that that's what you're working towards. And I do just keep it up. One of my questions for you is there anybody in Michigan independent wrestling, past or present, that you wish you could have like a dream match with?
My goal, honestly, this year, and I told myself, everybody in Death Army has wrestled this one person but me, and it's not, everyone gets wrestling but me. There's one person I do want to wrestle, and that's Trey Miguel.
Okay.
Just because of how good he is and how just how he moves and how he flows. I know he has his own training facility in Toledo, Ohio. But it would be either him or Josh Raymond, because he's a fucking legend in this business too.
Yes.
And William Ospreay, which would be my goal for if I got to wrestle him, then I would be done with professional wrestling forever.
Yeah, that was you just answered the next question. Like, you knew I was going to go there. You knew I was going to ask you who on the mainstream level now bigger than Michigan, and so yeah, Will Ospreay would be an amazing person to face. Like, that's a good one. Most people you'll hear like, oh, CM Punk or Jeff Hardy or this person or that person, but Will Ospreay has been on the top of the independent scene for a long time.
Long time. He still is at the top. He
is one of the best workers I've ever seen in a ring.
Nothing will bring him down. I'm sorry. Either that he would have to either kill a bunch of babies and throw them in the river full of alligators for him to bring him down. But they would, again, I think they would still cheer for that for some reason with his date and time. But they, like I said, Will Ospreay has always been to the top, even back in 2013.
Yep.
I think 2012, he was fucking killing it with Ricochet, or just PWG. No matter where he was, he always just put on a banger show, and just him being him, it just amazes me to this day.
Is there any company, independent, anywhere in the world that's like not mainstream, so not like New Japan or anything, but is there any company that's out there that you've had your eyes on and you're like, someday I'm going to get a booking here?
MLW or Pro Wrestling Gorilla, PWG.
I do not have any connections in PWG, but I do have some connections in MLW. I can see if I can shout out for you if you would like that. I can see what I can't do.
And there's I forget, I think it's called I think it's somewhere in New York or Philadelphia of I think the Amazing Red owns the company.
Yeah.
Hog Wrestling. Yeah, Hog
Yep.
Wrestling. Yes, that one. That's another one that would be a really fun show to get on and just put my name out there. But man, I really appreciate that. Just saying that.
Yeah, I can give you a shout out and be like, hey man, this kid's got some talent and maybe you should give him a look, So I can't ever promise nothing with anything like that because you know how that goes. But yeah, I definitely give you a shout out, kid. You're a good talent. Maybe one of these days I'll actually book myself in a show and get my carcass up, and maybe I'll see you in a locker room somewhere.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm definitely getting a little older in my career, but I still make it to some shows. I still get signed once in a while, whether it's PPW or somewhere. I do a few bookings here and there still, but they're few and far between. I definitely like this podcasting thing and what I'm doing, so I'll definitely be seeing you in the crowds for sure, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you on the bookings, man. Impressive work. Like I said, keep it up. Is there anything that you want to promo? Is there anything you want to push? Any events coming up besides your, any event really?
Actually, I'm just not gonna put over myself, but catch any of the Death Threat Army guys. Follow us on any Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all the social medias. As always, this is going to be Death Threat Army. My social media is DTA Adam Wick on everything. Okay. Excuse me. There are, like I said, just catch us all, man, because no matter where or what we're doing on the show, I promise you, you're going to guaranteed to be like, hey, man, that match was dope as fuck.
Yeah.
I just wish, just come out and support. If you can do that, that's all that matters.
Excellent, man. Well, I think you've answered every single question I've had. I've really enjoyed the time I've had with you, though, man. Like, I could probably sit here and talk wrestling with you forever. Like,
that would be one with like Aaron Orion. That dude, literally, every podcast I've seen him on, he's been on there for an hour to an hour and a half of just going off. Well, it's amazing what knowledge, and I've probably heard every podcast, and it's probably been the same, but there's something new every time I hear about this man. Even with Jack Price, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, with all the guys, it's amazing.
I would love one of these days, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I would love to get you guys all on a podcast.
Oh God,
that would be amazing.
That would be a disaster for you.
That would be fun. I love chaos. You've never heard any of my. I've been doing podcasting and radio for 15 years, and I've had some of the most. I had Jim Cornette and Kenny Bolin on the same episode for PWR Slam.
Oh boy,
okay? Yeah, that was straight chaos. Okay, yeah, it was straight chaos. We had the guy from RPW in Chicago, or out of Chicago area, that booked that charity show several years, like 8 years ago, with Jimmy Jacobs, and then didn't pay any of the boys. And then we brought a bunch of the boys on that he didn't pay and just let him go off on the guy. And like, it was brutal, bro. It's fucking brutal.
God
damn. So no, if there's chaos to be involved, you call me, dude. I will referee any kind of audio squabble, bro. It's fun for me. I love it. So definitely, man, if anybody out there, if you have not seen Adam F. and Wick perform, get to one of the indie shows out there, whether you're up north, down south. This kid's everywhere, and he's booking. So, like, if you get a chance to go see him, go see him. And if you do go get to see him and you get to meet him, tell him I sent you. I want to see how many referrals I can get.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if I can get one referral out there.
But I hope to make it up to your title match. If I don't, I'm sure I'll see you again at IPW, at least at Vandermill Cider, maybe in Battle Creek. So I'll look for you, and man, keep it up, dude, for real.
Thank you very much, sir. I greatly appreciate you.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this interview up. I thank everybody for coming in tonight. This is Pun the Psych again for Wrestling Bytes podcast. We will see you another night. Thank you guys, and have a great night. All right. And we're clear. Dude, thank you so much, man. That was awesome.
I greatly appreciate it, man. Anytime you need